guys, welcome back to my channel, Simone here. So today I'm going to be doing the Harry Potter spells tag, which I thought would be really interesting. I really like Harry Potter, as I'm sure you all know, and this one sort of popped up on my feed on YouTube and I thought it was really interesting, so I thought I'd give it a go. So let's go. The first one is Flagrate, which is the writing charm, and this is a book that you found interesting but would like to rewrite. And I have picked I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. Now, I feel like you're either going to completely agree with me or you're going to absolutely despise that I ever brought this up for this question, because basically people either love it or hate it, I feel like. I didn't hate this book, I just wasn't the biggest fan of the writing style. It's just not really my type of reading, I think. The story was really great, the kind of relationship between the two main characters was interesting and really fun, but I do think that the writing was slightly too flowery for me, which I know some people love, but it wasn't really my cup of tea. I would like to rewrite this, not me personally, I would like to get it rewritten, so that I could sort of like enjoy the story without quite so much flowery language. The second spell is Alohomora, which is the unlocking charm, and the question for this is a first book in a series that got you hooked. Now, I'm not somebody that's really good at finishing series, but I often love the first book in a series and then feel like I need to continue. But this one I've chosen is actually one of the only ones where I've kind of read the first one and then really quickly read the second one straight after. And that was Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, which is the first book in the Percy Jackson series. I believe there's 8 of these. I've only actually read the first 2 so far, which is the Lightning Thief, and I think the second one is the Sea of Monsters. I really liked this one though. I really enjoyed how it was written, and I just think it's really got a lot of action in it, which is really fun. I know a lot of people are put off this because it's middle grade and it's could be deemed as kind of for younger readers, but I actually really liked this, and I feel like it's a quicker read, but I think that it's really fun and yeah, got me hooked, so I shall be continuing the next one soon. The next one is Accio, or Axio, or Asio, or however people say it. I say Accio. It's the summoning spell, and this is a book that you wish you could have right now. Now, right at this moment when I'm filming this, it is the 22nd of March, and I have a book on pre-order which is coming, I believe, about the 6th of April. I'm not 100% sure of the date, but it's Hannah Witton's doing it. Basically, this is a book about Hannah Witton, who is a YouTuber, and she's written a book talking about sex and relationships and lots of other things, and I really like her YouTube channel. I think she's brilliant, so I'm really excited to read her book, and yeah, it's coming soon, so I need it now. The next one is Avada Kedavra, which is the Killing Curse. For this I've picked a killer book, and I have picked The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak, because if you've read this, you'll know why. I don't really need to say anything else. I mean, there is a picture of death on the front as well, which kind of gives it away, but I'm not going to say anything else. Next up is Confundo, which is the confusion charm, and for this is a book you found confusing. Now, I've gone for Books of Blood, volumes 1 to 3 by Clive Barker, not because it confused me as in I didn't understand it, but I didn't understand how someone could come up with some of the most disgusting, gruesome stories. It amazed me actually to think what is in Clive Barker's head. I don't understand. I'm confused about that. I liked the book generally, but oh my goodness me, there's a lot of stuff in here that is really quite gross and confusing. Next up is my favourite spell, and that is Expecto Patronum, and this is the kind of guarding spell, and for this question it is, what is your spirit animal book? Mine is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I adore Rainbow Rowell's writing. I discovered her last year and I can't get enough of it. Fangirl is about a girl who has social anxiety and basically goes to university but kind of stays at home and doesn't really kind of go out too much. She likes to be in her room, she likes writing fan fiction, and generally she just likes being kind of by herself, and to be honest, she's just basically me, apart from I don't do fan fiction, I write a blog. And I sometimes talk to a camera. Hi guys. Yeah, this is definitely my spirit animal, and I think I am Kath essentially. That's how it goes. The next one is Sectumsempra, which is a dark curse, and the question for this is a dark twisted book. If I tell you what this book is, you might be a little bit surprised as to why I've picked this book for this question, but I've picked Asking for It by Louise O'Neill because I adored this book, don't get me wrong. It's basically about a girl who is quite popular generally, and then one night she is raped by 4 kind of boys in her class at school, and basically it's about the town and the place where she lives and how the people have kind of brushed it off as sort of she was asking for it, she was wearing short skirts, like she was getting drunk, like she was asking for it, and they were just kind of doing what typical boys do. And the premise of that to me is very dark and twisted. Like, I know it's true and it does happen times. I hate the kind of idea that happens, and it does happen, and that's really sad, and it is very twisted. And the reason I've picked this is because reading this book brought out so many emotions in me. Literally reading it was like reading the diary of somebody who had gone through it, and it really just stirred it all up. And oh, this book just, I don't know how to explain it other than that, just to say that this was absolutely haunting. And I think that everyone should read this because I feel like it's very much a discussion about consent, and I think that if you read this you'll kind of see different sides of it. But anyway, it's definitely dark and twisted and very, very haunting. The next one is Expelliarmus, the Disarming Spell, and this is a book that took you by surprise. And for me, that was Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale. Now, I think most of you probably know that I love a good World War II story, and this is no exception. This, though, was definitely my favourite book of last year, and because of that, it definitely took me by surprise. Normally, although I love World War II books, they don't really stick with me as like an individual story. I feel like a lot of them I kind of put them in a box in my head of that's the World War II stories, but I wouldn't necessarily be able to pull them apart and kind of talk about each individual one separately. This book, though, I will never forget, and it has definitely stuck with me. I loved it, and it definitely took me by surprise. The next one is Prior Incantato, which is the reverse spell, and this is the last book that you read. Now, the last book I read I don't actually have with me right now because I've given it back to my dad because I borrowed it from him, so instead I thought I'd talk about the last book that I will have read by the time this video goes up because I'm reading it now. And it is The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer. I borrowed this from the library, and I've started, I think I'm about 70 pages into it. I'm actually really enjoying it. If you don't know, Stephanie Meyer is the author of Twilight, and she kind of has this sort of reputation of being very much YA. This is an adult thriller, actually. This is about a woman who is a spy and a chemist, essentially, and she's running for her life, and she has been for the last 3 years. And then the spy organisation that she worked for, who were trying to kill her, then say that they need her to do one more job for them, and then they'll let her go. And it's about that. And like I say, I'm not too far into it yet, but I am loving it so far. I really, really enjoy it, and this is definitely up my alley. Then I have Ridiculous, which is basically that you have to make people laugh in order to get rid of the boggart. And so this is a book that is funny. And I have picked Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen because this isn't your sort of stereotypical funny book, but this book is really funny. Like, I think it's really sarky. I love Jane Austen's humour. I think she's amazing, and this book just makes me laugh. And I think every time I read it, I kind of find something else that's even funnier. So yeah, that's my funny book. Next I have Sonorous, which is the Amplifying Charm, and this is a book that you think everyone should know about. Now, there are lots of books I love, but I wouldn't say I think everyone should know about them. Sometimes I like keeping books to myself, but this book is one that I know my boyfriend loved, and I loved it, and I think that we're two very different types of readers and we read very different things, so if we really both loved it, I feel like a lot of other people would. And it is The Reapers Are the Angels by Alden Bell, which is about a girl named Temple who is living in a post-apocalyptic world, and it's about how she sort of survives and deals with it. It's got zombies in it. It's pretty damn amazing. It's not too big either, so it's something that you could easily read even if you weren't really a big reader. Yeah, so this is one I think everyone should read. Next up is Obliviate, or The Memory Charm. This is a book or a spoiler that you wish you could forget that you'd read. And I'm going to say Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Now this is kind of a two-pronged answer. Firstly, I was spoilt for this book before I read it, which I was really disappointed about. So I wish I'd not read the spoiler. I also kind of wish I could forget I'd read it so that I could reread it and kind of enjoy it again, like for the first time. Because I feel like the feeling you get when you read a book for the first time, especially like the book in like Harry Potter, the feeling that you got when a new book came out was amazing, and I kind of wish I could have that sort of like first read feeling again. So yeah, I'm going to say this one, but I love it and it's my baby. Then I have Imperio, which is the Controlling Curse, and for this one it is a book that you were made to read at school, and I have picked Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre. Now I was made to read this at school because we had to read it, but I'm so glad I was made to read it because I love this book. Like, it's genuinely one of my favourite, like I think it is my favourite classic. This is a book about Jane Eyre, who orphaned, and then she has to live with her aunt who is really kind of neglecting and doesn't really like her, and her two horrible cousins, and then she goes to this school where again she's not treated very nicely, and then she becomes a governess for Mr. Rochester, and it's about how life goes on from there. I love this. Oh, I love this, I love this. Like, this is one of my favourites. I reread this quite a lot of the time. It's one of my favourites, so yeah, I definitely think that you should all read it. And thank you school for making me read this, because I feel like I probably wouldn't have picked this up without school, so thanks. And this is the last one, and I feel like this is an awful one to end this on, but this is Crucio, which is the Torture Curse, and this is a book that was painful to read. And I'm going to say The Zookeeper's Wife by Diane Ackerman. I, again, love World War II books, so I thought this was going to be pretty good. This is actually a true story about Jan and Antonina Zabinski, who are Polish Christian zookeepers who helped people to escape from the Nazis in the Second World War by basically keeping them in the pens where the animals had stayed. And I liked this premise of this. Obviously this is a true story, so this is kind of someone's real life. But the way it was written, it was so painful to read because there was just way too much information put in that didn't need to be there. I feel like it could have been so much better than it was, and I really wish it was. But them's the word. So there you are, that's my Harry Potter spells tag. I hope that you liked this video. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Click the little bell for more notifications for when I upload, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!